This is Tar Heel Talk, an in-depth look at the issues and people making news in North Carolina. Here's your host, Sonia Williams.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and today we highlight an organization working to eliminate child abuse in our area. Save Child offers parent education and support services to families to help prevent abuse and neglect. And joining me now is Kristen Duranja, Executive Director of Save Child, and Kelly Huffstetler, who is a board member for Save Child. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Save Child was founded back in 1992 by the Junior League of Raleigh. Give us a little bit of history on the organization and how it's evolved.
Well, we are about to celebrate our 25th anniversary, and you're correct, it has evolved in that time frame. But what is true today is the same thing that was true when we were established, and that was to really fill a wide gap in our community for children and families, and to create an organization that could really help parents be the best parent that they can be, and to be attentive and nurturing and loving for their children. And so our mission is to eliminate child abuse in Wake County through helping children and adults create nurturing environments.
Okay. And Save Child works directly with families?
That's correct. We have home-based programs. There's one called Welcome Baby that works with new mothers by pairing them with experienced mothers. And then we have a school-based program, Funny Tummy Feelings, which is a program that we take to first grade students in Wake County to empower them to protect themselves against physical and sexual abuse.
And do you have other types of programs that help support families as well?
We do. We have a wide array of parenting classes, and those are our parent education and support classes. Those are curriculum-based and are anywhere from 12 to 13 consecutive weeks. And that is when we bring both parents and children together to help strengthen that family. And then we also have our Children's Advocacy Center where we work with families, caretakers and children there as well.
A lot of times abuse if it's not physical, it's difficult to see. And so with that being said, what types of actions or what types of behaviors would constitute abuse? Just so we help our viewers to understand maybe some of the things to look for, some of those red flags.
Well, I'm very grateful that you bring up that point, because oftentimes people think, especially in terms of physical abuse, there's going to be an obvious injury that anyone can see. And that is rarely the case for majority of abuse and neglect that children experience. And so sometimes children's best advocates are those that may be caring for them either in a daycare, or it might be a school teacher, it could be a pediatrician, it could be someone in church, and it's someone that knows the child and might witness or notice a behavior change. And so that could be anything from their mood, it could be their school performance, it could be them not being able to attend in school, stay awake. So different things that just signal to you, and as we say in our Funny Tummy Feelings, give you that funny tummy feeling that something might need to be addressed with this child and this family. And our goal at Save Child is not to look for challenges or to look for things that are wrong. Our goal is to really look at the family unit and look for their strengths and build upon those strengths to help give them the tools, the resources, and the guidance that they need.
And when you talk about the Funny Tummy Feelings program, I know you were saying that that's something that you take into first grade classes throughout Wake County. Talk a little bit more about that program and the components of that.
Well, it's a fun program. I volunteer to present that program as well as being on the board, and it's always the best part of my day when I get to go see these little first graders. But we begin by talking to them about emotions and giving a name to an emotion, helping them to identify if it's a pleasant or an unpleasant feeling. We talk to them about how their bodies talk to them. We explain, you have to listen to that funny tummy feeling when you have butterflies in your stomach, and we explain to them that there are good touches and bad touches, and if someone were to touch them in a way that gave them a funny tummy feeling, that was inappropriate. They knew it wasn't right. Or even if someone asks them to do something that could harm themselves or someone else, that they need to be able to tell someone. So we give them some tools to figure out who the best person is to tell. And what if you tell the first person and they don't believe you, or they may not listen? So we really empower them to keep telling the story and to know that they're not to blame for these things that might happen. We teach them that it's okay to say no and how to say no like you mean it, with a firm voice and looking someone in the eye. Those are the tools that we use during this. It's about an hour-long program, and we end with an exercise, which is a butterfly that they color, but they put the names of their special people on this butterfly, and we try to help them think of 2 people that may live in the home, and then 2 people who live outside their home, so that they have plenty of options for who to speak with if they have a secret that they need to share.
And it's important, I guess, to get this message out to our students as young as possible in a developmentally appropriate way.
Exactly. And we have found that Funny Tummy Feelings is both preventative, so it helps kids have that awareness and that understanding of what is appropriate and not appropriate. And we've also have found that sometimes once they learn that information, a light bulb goes off and they realize that there's something that maybe has already happened to them, and it gives them that voice. It makes them feel safe to tell, and it provides them the opportunity to make that disclosure to a helpful adult that then may reach out to Safe Child at our Children's Advocacy Center to help that child.
Okay. How can people find out more information about Safe Child and the programs and services that you provide?
We have a wonderful website. It's safechildnc.org. And we have, well, if you go to the website, you'll see the information on how to contact us directly. You'll also see the various programs, the home-based, the school-based, and the community-based programs. That's probably the best way to get started.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break. We'll talk more in just a minute.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Safe Child after these messages. My guests today are with Safe Child, an organization working to eliminate child abuse in Wake County. With us again is Kristen Duranje, Executive Director of Safe Child, and Kelly Huffstetler, who is a board member for Safe Child. Now, before the break, you were talking about your program for first graders called Funny Tummy Feelings. How many schools are you working with right now with that program throughout Wake County?
Well, we know that there are about 150 elementary schools in Wake County, and right now we're currently in just over 50, about 53. Last school year, so school year 15-16, we served 6,500 children.
Wow.
So we're really hoping to serve at least 7,000 children this year. And our goal is to get into every single first grade classroom in Wake County, whether it's a private school, public school, or charter school.
And if a school is interested in having volunteers come and talk about the Funny Tummy Feelings program, how can they do that?
They just need to pick up the phone and call Safe Child, and we'll put them in touch with Elizabeth Clark, the Funny Tummy Feelings coordinator, and have a volunteer reach out to them and coordinate it.
Okay, and that number is 919-743-6140, and they can always log on to the website to get more details at safechildnc.org. Definitely lots of programs and services for families, and like you were saying before, you're not looking for, I guess, issues or problems, more so you're trying to give families tools and resources to be successful. That being said, how can families connect with Safe Child for services?
And you know, we've been in the community now for over 20 years, and so we are very well established with our partners in the community, and so we receive families oftentimes that are working with child welfare. They might be referred to us by pediatricians, so a welcome baby participant might be recommended for the program when they have that baby in the hospital and they know about us. And it might be word of mouth. They may have a friend that's taking a class with Safe Child or a neighbor, and the the wonderful thing is the access to receive services at Safe Child and to benefit from our programs is very simple. Families can just pick up the phone themselves and call. There is a program registration form for some of our programs, but it's very short. Mm-hmm. There is not a fee for our programs, so there's not a financial barrier. For our group-based programs, which are parenting classes, there's a children's component for that. So there's childcare. We often find that our group programs are a respite for the mom and dad because it's a night out for them to be together. Their children are safely supervised, and while the parents might be talking about healthy ways for them to manage their emotions, their children at the same time are talking about the same topic in their own developmental appropriate way. And so we work really hard to make sure that when families need support from us, that we are there and available to help them.
Right. And you have community partners as well that you
We do.
That you work with.
And one of the things that Kelly does as a board member is, you know, she's very active in helping raise funds for us to be able to provide these programs. Even though there's not a fee for the families, it doesn't mean that it's free for Safe Child to provide the services. And so that is a big role that Kelly has as a member of our board of directors. Kelly is, you know, especially important to us because she also supports the organization as a corporate partner through her business. And as you have heard, she speaks so eloquently about Funny Tummy Feelings because she's an actual program volunteer. And even as the executive director, I'm a program volunteer for Funny Tummy Feelings. And so and the other way that we do our work is that we work really closely with other community partners. It could be other nonprofits. We work really closely with Interact. We work really closely with Triangle Family Services, the Hope Center. We work really closely with all of Wake County law enforcement, the mental health and the medical community. And so, you know, we try to address the parenting needs of the family, help them with the development of their child, but we also know that if there are some needs that that child or family has around housing, employment, maybe the child has some speech issues, that we help plug them in with other resources in the community where we have really positive relationships.
Excellent. And you talk about providing these services at no cost to families, but still needing to raise money. Talk a little bit about the funding, and do you accept private donations or just corporate relationships? How does that work?
We'll accept any money from anyone. We have a pretty strong corporate partnership program that we started about a year and a half ago, where we've encouraged businesses to, rather than sponsor one event, such as a gala or a luncheon, that they sign on with us as corporate partners, and they're giving continually year after year, and they get some exposure for their business, but more importantly, it's their commitment to Safe Child and Safe Child's commitment to them. But so the corporate sponsor program, we receive grants, some federal, some state-based, some local government grants. Lots of private donations. Those are our favorite kind because they're unrestricted funds, so a little easier to move around with the budget. We have fundraisers. In fact, we have our Safe Child Gala coming up on April 22nd, and tickets can still be purchased to attend that gala. It'll be a wonderful night. Do you want to tell a little bit more about the gala?
Sure. We're excited this year because for the first time ever, we're having a featured guest, and her name is Kayla Harrison. She just won an Olympic gold medal this past summer in the Summer Olympics in the sport of judo. And when she was competing last summer, she was on TV talking about her own personal experience of abuse. And that was picked up by several people in our community who thought, you know, that it would be a wonderful opportunity to have her come and be a part of our event. So we're really excited to have a hero and someone that has survived and thrived and is really a champion for children. And that is the name of our gala this year, Champions for Children.
Okay. And tickets are still available. They can go to your website.
They can.
safechildnc.org to make those ticket purchases.
Yes.
Again, all to support programs that are supporting children and families in Wake County.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to take another break. We'll talk more in just a minute.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Tar Heel Talk after these messages. Welcome back to Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, so today's show focuses on an organization working to eliminate child abuse in our area. Safe Child offers parent education and support services to families to help prevent abuse and neglect. With us again is Kelly Huffstetler, board member with Safe Child, and Kristen Duranje, Executive Director of the organization. And before the break, we were talking a little bit about the Funny Tummies Feelings program and all of the services that you provide. You also have the Advocacy Center. Talk a little bit about the work that's done at the Advocacy Center.
Well, we realized, true to kind of our beginning, filling that gap in Wake County and, identifying where is it that Safe Child needs to be now for Wake County and for children and families. And we're learning through our stakeholders that the system of care, intervention, and treatment for children who had actually experienced abuse was very fragmented. And all of the well-meaning people and professionals in our community charged with taking care of these children were just doing their jobs, but in the way that they were doing them, they were creating additional trauma for children and working very much independently in their own silos. And so what Safe Child did a little over 6 years ago is we opened what's called a Children's Advocacy Center. Our center is called the Safe Child Advocacy Center, and it's a national model. The center was actually just received our national accreditation this past January. And so it's a national model for providing intervention and treatment, investigation, and evaluation for children where there have been concerns of sexual and physical abuse. And what we've learned that we always want to be in a position as a community to prevent child abuse from ever happening in the first place. And that's where our primary prevention programs come in. But we also don't want to turn our backs and pull out support for children that have been a victim of abuse. It's very important that we stop that for that child.
Absolutely.
We make sure that our children in our community are also safe by holding an alleged offender accountable if that's what needs to happen. And so children come to our center, they're referred there from child welfare and our local law enforcement. They schedule the appointment for the child and family. It's a house that is now being used as an office space. Recently, just today, it was written about as kind of a protective fortress on the hill. And that's really what it is. Children and families arrive there, they feel that support, they feel the power of healing and hope, and they know that they can't erase what's happened, but it's not going to define the rest of their life, and we really put them in a trajectory towards a healthy and happy and hopeful future. And we provide medical evaluations there with physicians in our community. Wake Med Health and Hospital is one of our strongest medical supporters in our community. And we also have 2 child abuse evaluation specialists that interview the children so we can better understand what their experiences have been. So we bring together this Wake County multidisciplinary team to provide this well-coordinated, collaborative response to children during the most vulnerable, dark times that child and his or her family could have possibly ever experienced.
And it sounds like you have several steps in place to help a family, to help a child. You're taking the Funny Tummy Feelings program into first grade classes throughout Wake County. I'm curious to see if you're seeing any type of connection with children going through that program and then having the tools to understand if something inappropriate is happening and how that plays out in terms of who you see in your advocacy center.
It's hard to say that it's a proud moment when there's a child that's in need in that way. And so I'm not proud that we are needed, but I am proud that we are able to serve, that we are able to be present. And so there was a Friday afternoon, and this is just one example, And I received an email from a law enforcement officer from Raleigh Police Department. And I was reading the referral, and in the referral it was clear that the reason this child felt safe to tell about what had happened to her is because the Funny Tummy Feelings lady had come to her school.
Wow.
And she had learned from this lady that what had happened to her was wrong and that she should tell someone. And because we now have this system of care and coordination in our community, when that child shared that information with her school guidance counselor, that guidance counselor knew not to dig for more information, to not try to be the hero in that way, but to direct that need and that concern to child welfare and to law enforcement. She knew that once she reported to those stakeholders and those partners, that they would then refer that child to our center. And then we were able to rally around that child, and we're able to help them understand, as Kelly said, that it's not their fault what happened to them, and they should not feel ashamed, and that they're going to be okay. And then we can plug them in for the treatment that they need to continue to be a wonderful child, enjoying things like the playground and going to school and feeling safe.
And those partnerships and that collaboration is so important when it comes to the safety and the health of our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you look at the Funny Tummy Feelings program, I can imagine, your goal is to reach even more first grade classes throughout Wake County. I can imagine you need a number of volunteers to be trained for that. How can our viewers who are interested become a part of that program?
So it takes two. We have 2 adults per presentation to run each presentation. So each Wake County school has anywhere from 5 to 6 first grade classrooms. So that's 6 presentations, and 2 people devoting their time to do those for about an hour. And so we would like to be in it's a little over 150 schools in Wake County, including public and private and charter. In order to be able to do that, we do need volunteers, but we also need more funding. We have a coordinator who does a wonderful job with the limited time that she has, but we would like to double her time so that she can double the number of schools that she can help coordinate getting us into. But back to your question about a volunteer. How do you volunteer? Again, I would suggest they go to the Safe Child website. There is a volunteer coordinator. Express their interest and say, hey, I heard about Funny Tummy Feelings. That sounds like something I'd really like to be involved with. And she will be put in touch with Elizabeth Clark, who can help. He or she will be put in touch with Elizabeth to follow up on training and placement.
We have, and that website is safechildnc.org. We have less than a minute left. Kristen, April is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. What message would you like to leave our viewers with about this month and the importance of the awareness?
Well, I charged our staff last August to really band together this year and to make sure that while we're delivering direct services to children and families, we're also taking intentional moments to spread awareness about our mission, about the prevalence of child abuse in our community, and also about Safe Child, so people know about the organization and they can come to us and receive that support and that engagement with our organization. And so our staff, our mighty staff of 17, is divided into 3 teams, and each team this month is doing different activities to really spread that awareness.
Absolutely.
And to increase people's understanding and appreciation of the work that we're doing.
Okay, very important work. Thank you both so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
That's it for this week's Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.